Hey, it's me, Vicky Marie. Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, depending on where you are in the world. I hope you're all well. My name's Vicky Marie. I am in mainland Spain. It is 12:20 on Thursday, the 1st of August. White rabbits, first day of the month. And yeah, it's hot here as always. I've got the air conditioning on even at this time, which is, not good. Even worse when the bill comes in at the end of the month, but at least I've got the aircon spot on because it is unbearable today. I mean, it's supposed to be getting even hotter coming up to the weekend. Sorry, I haven't finished setting up my computer, etc. So yeah, if you're planning on coming on holiday to Spain or any European destination, just remember how hot it is at the moment. Don't do anything silly. Don't go for long walks or try and, head over a ravine to get to wherever it is you want to go. All these horrible cases that have happened lately of people, let's say, just taking risks and ending very tragically. So we don't want any of that, do we? So don't do that. Okay, sorry, I'm still just setting up my set up my laptop because that's how I try and work out if make sure I'm sharing my videos, because quite often I forget to share my videos, don't I? So anyway, just as I'm doing this, I want to say thank you to everyone. Thanks to all my subscribers. Thank you to everyone who's watched my videos, liked my videos. Don't forget to leave your DNA on the like button. That's a free way you can help my channel, and by subscribing, of course. Hang on, I won't be a sec. Thanks to everyone who's done that already. Of course, lots of you are already subscribed. Oh, got it on. Trying to turn the sound down. There you go. Lots of you, of course, are subscribed already like my videos. And special thank you, of course, to those of you who are members. We've got members live tonight. And we're going to be talking about a few different things, but I am going to be talking about this suspect in the Southampton stabbings, showing you a photo of him, etc. I'm not showing it on the public because Anyway, I'll explain why as we're going through this video, because this guy who has now been charged, which we're going to look at that press conference again, is only 17, so he's not supposed to be named, but apparently will be 18 within 31 days or something. So I wonder if it'll change then, if he'll get, he's been remanded apparently to a youth detention centre at the moment. But when he turns 18, what will happen then, I wonder? So we're going to be talking a bit about that tonight, and of course other things. This video is going to be a little bit of a mishmash of everything, because there's so much news at the moment. There's so many things that I want to tell you about, and so many videos that I'd like to show you that I think you'll find out not only these sad things, but some things you might find amusing as well. And news from everywhere about all sorts of different things, not just about the Southport stabbing. So there's just news at the moment. So it's be a little bit of a mishmash, if you like, today. I hope you'll find it interesting, whatever. But special thank you, yes, to my members. And I'll see you tonight in the members live. If you're not a member, please consider becoming a member. We have 2 members lives a week. You can become a member for $1.99. But if you could become a member for $4.99, you can join both the special members lives on a Tuesday and Thursday. Okay, so, and also thank you to anyone who's bought me a Ko-fi, anyone who has PayPal'd me or sent me a super sticker. Just thank you so much for supporting my channel. Keeping me going, not only in the financial sense, but in the moral support sense. All the nice messages, emails, etc. that people send and thank me, for my channel. So that makes it worthwhile doing, doesn't it? And of course, we do have the best community on here. We don't, please, I know I don't have to tell my regular chatters, be polite to each other and respectful, and to me, of course, and to the victims and the victims' families. You don't have to be respectful to the perpetrators. And but just to say, we're on a no tolerance now for trolling. Just had enough of it, really. Life's too short to argue with fools. So just to let you know that if you want to come on here and say nasty things, go ahead if you want to, but you just won't be on here for very long time. So I think we've made a universal decision on that on my channel with the community. Now, thanking everybody for buying me Ko-fis, etc. There's one bit of housekeeping that I just want to do before we start, which is, for those of you who've been on my channel a while, I did have a shop selling merchandise that became not only unprofitable. I mean, I don't want to make money from out of selling merchandise, but I didn't want to lose money from selling merchandise. And because I try and make everything the postage free, and to do that, then it turned out that it was actually costing me money to have the shop, so I had to abandon the shop. And since then, I've been trying to find a way that I can do it. Now, I think I may have found a way. So I've just started. I didn't even think about my Buy Me a Ko-fi channel, which has a shop. So I'm going to set up everything. So far, I've only set up. This is my Confessions of a Spanish Teacher book, which, if you want to know a little bit about me and my history, how I got interested in true crime, how I ended up coming to Spain, my stalking experience, there's a lot. It's obviously about me as a person, as opposed to a YouTuber. If you want to know about me, you can buy this book. And so far, all I've put up so far is a mug. I'm getting there. So these prices are inclusive of postage. You can order them on the Ko-fi site. When I get it set up properly with some more things, I will be talking about it probably, in the beginning or end of videos, so that people know about it. Also, I can customize more or less anything. So if there's anything in particular, you want me to put on a mug or a T-shirt or a tote bag, that you'd particularly like, I can do that as well. But it's a work in progress. But just to let you know about it. And I want to say thank you to, because quite a few people bought merchandise when I had the shop up before. Thank you for that. I really appreciate that. And let's hope I can get this set up properly again. Okay, so just wanted to tell you about that. I'll put that with I know I always say that I've got so many windows up, but really I've got about 20 windows open at the moment because I've got so many things to talk about, to show you. Some of the I've got that down. Hang on. So I'm going to say hello first. I think very first I'm going to say hello. And to all you that are in chat, thanks for joining in the chat and keeping me company. Also, I want to say hello first of all as well to people who don't like to go. Not everybody likes to go and chat. People will be watching at home. Hello to you. And also hello to Replay Crew. And all of you that are watching this video, thank you for deciding to take some time out of your lives and spend it with me. Okay, so hi David, hi Ocean, hi Kelly, hi Chumba. Oh, overcasting. I wish I was in Glasgow. That's all I can say then. Hi Yvonne. Yvonne's got 27 degrees. I'm not sure what the temperature is here, but it's supposed to be, it'll be over 30 anyway. Hi Heather. All right, yeah, you got the manure spreaders out. Yeah, we get those here somewhere sometimes. So yeah, hi Jem. Did I say hello to Kelly? I think I did, but hi Kelly anyway. So which twonk did you work with at the airport, David? I must have missed that. Hi, Zuzu. Yeah, you've got rain. I wish we had some rain. I am dying for rain. Hi again, Yvonne. Okay, so first of all, let's look at what happened last night. So, well, I'll tell you what, very first of all, let's remember, as always, these three girls that are no longer with us because of what some bloody, some other child, really. I mean, he's only just a child. He's got, as I say, it's his birthday in a month and he'll be 18. And I wonder if he will get named officially then instead of just people like me naming him. I will be naming him tonight in the members. It's bit I've noticed on social media, the names coming up more and more. I don't think the police will be able to stop naming him in the end. Because, and to be honest, it probably would be a good thing that they do. I mean, I know it's not necessarily in their hands because that is the law in the UK. We cannot name someone who's under 18. So we're going to look at that. It's not the police making the decision. They just can't unless a judge decrees that they can. But there's in 31 days or so, I think he will be 18. So this is what the main thing is about these three girls that have died very sadly in that attack, BB, Alice and Elsie. And of course, the other children and the other victims, the yoga, the teachers, the dance instructors that are still in hospital. But we haven't had at least any more bad news since Alice died. Very sadly, I think it was on Tuesday, wasn't it? God, it feels like a long time ago now. But it's literally all this. We're only on Thursday and all this started on Monday. It feels like it started ages ago. There haven't been any other announcements so far. Anyway, I keep checking the news. But so hopefully that's a positive thing. That means that the other people that were critically ill have stabilized or looks like they're going to stabilize, etc. So, of course, this is what it's about. and it's caused so many other issues. This is going to be one of those defining moments in British history, isn't it? Because it's brought up so many issues, all the disinformation floating around social media, etc. You know, all the English Defence League. God, the English Defence League. My God, we need someone to defend us against the English Defence League, I think, because they are, you know, they're just knuckle draggers in my eyes. But anyway, you know, unfortunately, they probably have a point, you know, in what they're trying to say, but that the way that they're trying to do it just turns normal thinking people off. You know, it doesn't make people think, oh yeah, they're right, let's support them. It makes people think, oh well, what a load of violent thugs, and you know, they're an embarrassment to England. You know, so that's how it makes me feel anyway. So, and I know it's not, I know I'm not the only one, because you know, it's not everybody thinks they're bloody brilliant. So let's start off with the news conference. So that I did put this on the I did put a video out of this morning, but just in case you haven't seen it. So at midnight, and I must have only just gone to bed, you know, because, you know, yesterday I was on the computer too much, to be honest. I was on it too much. I was on the news too much. I just couldn't stop watching. I was waiting for information, and not only about this case, but other things. And in the end, I just gave in and went to bed. It took me ages to get to sleep because it was so hot. But then they sneaked on and did a news conference at midnight. I wonder if it was a result of the riots and everything. They felt like they had to move on with this case, because until then, you know, the guy, although the guy was arrested at the scene, the young lad, he had not been charged. So here he's been charged. So teenager charged with murdering 3 girls in the Southport stabbing attack. I did wonder, you know, if they were waiting to see if the other children stabilise, you know, would there be more charges of murder? He's appeared at the court today, or I don't know if he's already been or not, but he was due to appear at court today. I presume that'll be heavily police protected. So he's from the nearby village of Banks in Lancashire, but he was born in Cardiff, Wales. Arrested on Monday and a knife seized by the police. So now I think you can see, when you watch this press conference, you literally can see how sad these, you know, people can whinge about the police as much as they want, but I think how they must feel this particular case. Thank you, Heather. Let me just put that. Thank you so much. That's very kind. Thank you. Because you're a good supporter of my channel anyway. So I really appreciate, I especially appreciate that. Thank you. Oh, let me go. I don't think I'd shared the actual. And it doesn't take much to distract me, does it? Where am I? Where am I? Who am I? What day is it? Right, here we go. Sorted.
Prosecutor CPS Mersey Cheshire. The Crown Prosecution Service has authorised Merseyside Police to charge a 17-year-old boy of Banks, Lancashire, with 3 counts of murder and 10 counts of attempted murder, following the tragic incident that took place in Southport this week. He will appear at Liverpool City Magistrates Court on Thursday, the 1st of August 2024. We remind all concerned that criminal proceedings against the defendant are active and that he has a right to a fair trial. It is extremely important that there should be no reporting, commentary, or sharing of information online which could in any way prejudice these proceedings. Our thoughts remain with families of all those affected by these harrowing events.
Good evening, Serena Kennedy, Chief Constable, Merseyside Police.
Sorry, before Serena speaks, I just want to say, yeah, it's very, you know, like it or not, this guy's got to have a fair trial. He's got to have a fair trial. We don't want the case getting dismissed on a technicality. I can't see that it would be a case of this magnitude, surely. But, you know, they've got to ensure a fair trial. But having said that, I mean, he's literally been caught with the knife on him, been seen doing it. You wouldn't think there's any way that a defence lawyer could get him out of this, except maybe on the mental health card or whatever. But, you know, we don't want that. This boy, and he is a boy, and I feel for his family, because that won't be good for them to live with, knowing that their boy has done this. But this boy cannot ever be let out into public again. You know, the reason they may never find a proper reason why he's done what he's done. But, you know, he can't be, you know, he had a knife obsession and he's murdered. This is, even if he's got mental health issues, if he's a schizophrenic or if he's bipolar or whatever he is, there's lots of people just function in daily life with these conditions, even schizophrenia, which people are sort of scared of, aren't they? But they function, they don't go and stab a load of children. This is unheard of. You know, as I say, since the Dunblane massacre, Thomas Hamilton, that we talked about yesterday, this is unheard of in Britain. But there are people with mental health issues. Sometimes you get issues like maybe someone goes and stabs one person, or you know, or maybe domestic issues or whatever with these mental health issues. But to do this, to just randomly go and choose a place where there were all these little girls and do it deliberately, is unheard of. Unheard of.
As the Crown Prosecution Service have said, a 17-year-old boy from Banks has been charged with the murders of Bibi, Elsie Dot and Alice. 10 counts of attempted murder and possession of a bladed article following the tragic incident in Southport on Monday, the 29th of July. The 17-year-old cannot be named for legal reasons as he is under 18. He has been remanded in custody to appear tomorrow, the Thursday, the 1st of August, at Liverpool Magistrates Court, Derby Square. Whilst these charges are a significant milestone within this investigation, this remains very much a live investigation.
Now, notice she was very careful in her speech, wasn't she? She spoke the girls' names clearly. Thing is, these girls have been forgotten with all these right-wing idiots going off rioting, etc. You know, they've tarnished the memory of these girls, and they're supposed to be patriots. They're supposed to, you know, they don't care about those girls.
And we continue to work with our partners from Lancashire Police and Counter-Terrorism Policing Northwest. I would like to thank all the forces who've offered and supplied support to Merseyside Police during the last 3 days. And I can confirm that we are being supported with investigative resources from across the Northwest. Thank you.
Okay, so that was the press conference. Let me just go back to it. So, yeah, so we must always remember these girls and their families, of course, because Elsie's mum has been forced to come out and ask people to stop, you know, being violent, etc. How dare they put her in a position where she should do that? She should have to do that. She doesn't want violence committed in her daughter's name. It's bad enough her daughter's been murdered violently, and then idiots out there like, or you know, as if it's anything, as if they're doing something helpful for the family. They're not. So yeah, we've got Bebe, or Bibi, I think it's pronounced, Elsie Dot and Alice, and we must remember them more than the stupid English Defence League. So this guy has been charged with 3 counts of murder, 10 counts of attempted murder, and possession of a knife. So there's, you know, that's severe, isn't it? Like massive charges, really. And they've said it's extremely important there should be no reporting, commentary or sharing of information online which could in any way prejudice these proceedings. Well, it's all over Twitter, so they're too late for that. I don't know what they're going to do about that. There's people all over the place naming this lad. Our thoughts remain with the families of all those affected. So 8 other children suffered stab wounds, 5 of them remain in critical condition, and 2 adults, including one of the organisers of the event, are also in critical condition. So these were the scenes at Downing Street last night. More than 100 people were arrested as a violent protest broke out in the wake of the Southport attack. What are they even doing there? What do they think they're going to achieve? Flying British flags? You know, what are they actually trying to achieve there? You know, they're making violent protests. What they're trying to achieve. So they were throwing cans, they were throwing glass bottles. What is the purpose of this? And not all the time they're just recording it on their phone. You know, and they are not teenagers. I mean, these are grown men. Look at them, they're just thugs. Haven't they got anything better to do? You know, maybe they should get a job or something. Awful. Sorry, I just haven't got any respect for these people. What they're doing is wrong. There's a place, a time for debate, discussion. If they're angry with immigration, then, you know, they've got to address it. And I agree, it has to be addressed if people feel like strongly about it. But that is not the way, in my opinion. Anyway, I wanted to show you an interview. Oh, because there's so much on Twitter, all the memes that are coming out now about the guy, you know, the guy that we showed, that I showed the other day, the guy that got hit on the head by a brick, and then in his nudges, Heather, that's how they described it on one, because I was laughing because I was thinking about you, on one Twitter feed that I saw it on, they described it as him getting hit in his nudges. Which I thought was quite funny, but because that's a word you like, isn't it? Let's just see what this guy. Let me find. So this was an interview with this guy. Well, he was a Tory. I don't know if he's a Tory anymore, but this is Tobias Ellwood. He's one of those sort of decent Tories that had to come out of the Tory party when it went rancid, like it went rancid. And he's, of course, Nigel Farage, as usual, making inflammatory comments. And this is what I thought, this was very measured, what he had to say about it, because you have to be measured in these circumstances.
Farage.
You know, at the end of the day, either you want to live in a country where there's revolution on the streets and, you know, unrest against the police. Is that what you want? You want to live in a country where you can't even step out your door because you don't know what's gonna be going on? Or do you want to live in a country where people deal with things, you know, democratically? They have reasoned debates, they have facts, etc., not just talk rubbish. You know, what do you want?
You heard there saying he's perfectly entitled to ask questions about law and order in this country. What do you say to him?
Yes, but he needs to do so responsibly. I'm going to begin, if I may, not with Nigel Farage, because this is not about Nigel Farage. This is about those who've lost their lives, the devastated families who are now coming to terms with their lives completely changed because children have been killed, others have been injured as well. That's where we should be beginning any conversation, not about Nigel Farage and his scant understanding of what terrorism is. The wider community in Southport is now struggling to come to terms with this shocking attack, but now is having to deal with also the violence and the rioting that has now subsequently played.
Yeah, because to me, that what they're doing is terrorism. Well, first of all, it was all disinformation. They you know, they're out there, all that, those things that came out. And he was a migrant and he arrived last year, and he was living in a migrant complex called the Bridge. Oh my God, his name was this Ali somebody. All that came out, and even now, when surely they know by now that all that is not true, they've still just hijacked the deaths of these 3 girls for their own political points, even though they must know by now that that actually is not true. You know, they're the terrorists in my eyes. I think they should all be deported to Rwanda themselves. You know, talk about deporting the immigrants. They're the people I'd like to see go from Britain, to be honest.
Out, thanks to the false claims and disinformation whipped up on the internet with the frenzy of hate that's been spreading this disinformation. Many commentators have fueled this, including the English Defence League and also Nigel Farage as well. You know, this is a tragedy of loss of human life, but this is a sickening display of humanity of what's happened afterwards. The speed in which fake news went from swirling around on the internet to violence offline in reality should concern us all. You know, why didn't Twitter, for example, aware that there would be speculation after the attacks, not better police its own platform and remove harmful and insightful content?
Now, yeah, Twitter did nothing to get rid of that content, you know, and if you were a cynical person, you might think, because you know Elon Musk, he can't get much more right-wing than Elon Musk. You know, sometimes you think he's got too much control. It's like he's running the world. So on Twitter, there's so many things you can't do. You know, they'll jump on you for, but you can give absolutely, totally false information to incite up hatred, incite riots. So you can do that and it's not taken down. I just don't understand this.
I said before that nobody actually should have a Twitter account, a social media account, without being accountable. In other words, being charged, for example, £5 a year for that privilege. It means you remove that ability to be anonymous. But Farage wasn't anonymous. He knew exactly what he was doing. This is straight from the Trump playbook. It's bad enough to see hatred ramped up online with those comments, but from a member of parliament. I am disgusted how a sitting member of parliament can deliberately inflame tensions without any justification. He then acknowledged that himself. He says, I don't base this on anything. I'm simply posing those questions. Well, any MP is actually a political leader of sorts in the mainstream. What you say matters. Regardless of what party you represent, you should always be putting your country's interests first. And I asked this to Nigel Farage, how on earth did you help Britain at all with making these comments and fueling speculation in the way that you did?
No, Nigel Farage, he's one of those typical sort of, it says he's doing everything for Britain, and he's actually not. He's damaging Britain. It's almost deliberate. You know, it's like, as I say, I think there's definitely been efforts to destabilize Britain. Somebody's trying to do it. You know, people like Nigel Farage, Tommy Robinson, etc., and all these bots or fake accounts on Twitter, they're all just making it worse. Anyway, I think this might make you laugh. This is a guy, one of the English Defence League, being interviewed. You know, this is the mentality of the people you deal with. The Iraqi law that they've put down in London. So this is the intelligence of the English Defence League. The Muslimic law. They're trying to put the Muslimic law down on them, and they can't stand for that. Muslimic. Let's hear it again, because it just makes me laugh, because this is exactly how I think of the English Defence League, the people that are in it, I'm afraid. The Iraqi law, I mean, where's that come from? The Iraqi law? You know, as if Iraq, what? Is Iraq the only country that the Iraq, does he even know where Iraq is? Does he even know anything about Iraq or Muslim, what did you call it? Let's have a, oh, I didn't share it, did I?
They've got they get
I've
their
got to
law
share
over
it.
our country, and it is happening. It's happening in other countries. Everything it's happening in every country. It's like you've got the Iraqi law that they put down in London. Like we're more or less near London today, but they're trying to put the Iraqi law down on London. They're just trying to put their law down on us, and we can't stand for that.
Which Iraqi law is this?
It's the Muslimic law.
Muslimic.
They've got their law. Obviously, it's their law, isn't it? Like, there's no what we can't do anything about that. But we're just trying to stop Muslimic. You've got Muslimic rape gangs nowadays. Fucking, there's 15-year-olds getting raped and everything.
Yeah, a load of skinheads wandering around with cans of beer, men who are old enough to know better. You know, this guy here, he's not a teenager. I don't know how, he's not a teenager either, but he's a little bit younger. This guy here, you know, come on, you should know better. Oh my God, have they had lobotomies or something?
It just can't happen. That's why all these people are there. All these people around us, that's why they're there.
Thank you very much.
So one more
They
time.
get their law over our country, and it is happening. It's happening in other countries. Everything it's happening in every country. It's like you've got the Iraqi law that they put down in London. Like we're more or less near London today, but they're trying to put the Iraqi law down on London. They're just trying to put their law down on us, and we can't stand for that.
Which Iraqi law is this?
It's the Muslimic law. They've got their law. Obviously, it's their law, isn't it? Like there's no what we can't do anything about that. But we're just trying to stop Muslimic. You've got Muslimic rape gangs nowadays. Fucking, there's 15-year-olds getting raped and everything. It just can't happen. That's why all these people are there. All these people around us. That's why they're there.
Hiding his face.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, a lot of them hiding. They don't hide your face if you really believe that in the Muslimic laws. Anyway, there you go. That's the basic intelligence of these people. Okay, right. Where am I going now? Oh, so now we have got some camera footage of the perpetrator, who's not Muslimic, funnily enough, at all. He's Christian. There you go. You can't tell these Neanderthals. They don't want to hear the truth. They want him to be Muslim. He's not Muslim. Anyway, let's have a look at some footage of the awful day when it happened. Come on.
Watch the reflection in the car window. A suspected mass murderer is about to come into view.
So this is chilling, isn't it? So because he's quite slight as well, isn't he? You know, he's not a great big chunky guy. He's a 17-year-old, you know. I wonder if that's why he went to attack those children, because, you know, he didn't seem to want to attack anybody else, did he? You know, he's attacking women and children. Just what was going through his head there? So apparently he walks past here. He's caught on the CCTV walking past here, and he returns with something in his pocket.
Where is he going? Hood up and face hidden behind a mask. At just gone 11 on a sunny Monday morning. It was enough for neighbours to notice and wonder.
To see a man then in the green hoodie walking past. And it's just scary. You don't know if he's looking for something to do or if he's don't know what's going through his mind.
We don't know what the suspect did beyond sight of the camera, but in the direction in which he was walking, several doors down, he would have reached a social club where there was due to be a drama class for children later that day. A few minutes further, there's a skate park on Hesketh Avenue where children could have been enjoying their summer holidays.
I mean, it's chilling, isn't it, to think that, do you think he Googled like where there were children's events locally? Because, you know, this is my thing, is how did he end up going to that place? You know, he must have known there were children there. It was some sort of workshop for children. Did he deliberately go there because it was girls mainly? Or does he not like Taylor Swift? Did he know somebody who was there? You know, there was a reason why he got in a taxi and went to that particular place. And it just makes you wonder if we're like what they're saying here. You know, there were places, yeah, there was this St. Stephen's Institute and Club. Did they have a lucky escape? And then the skate park. You know, why did he end up going where he went?
Drama class for children later that day. A few minutes further, there's a skate park on Hesketh Avenue where children could have been enjoying their summer holidays. And still within a short distance is a row of businesses, including a corner shop selling sweets and drinks. 5 minutes later, he returns, striding towards the direction he came from. This time, we see one hand hidden inside his hoodie.
Yeah, he's got his hand inside his hoodie there, which he didn't have. We'll watch it again in a minute. Has he got the knife in there? Has he got his hand on the knife? Has he been to get, because of course we don't know where he went when he disappeared out of view. Did he go to buy a knife? You know, because the trouble is with knives is, you know, they might ban machetes or, you know, but people will always have kitchen knives, won't they? You can walk in any hardware store, any supermarket, you know, buy a great big knife for you know, that's designed for cooking. How are you ever going to stop that? I don't know how you can ever stop that. I honestly don't. I think it's terrifying. But so it's got to be trying, you know, get to the root of why he would do something like this. But of course, we can't even imagine why he would do it. You know, you just don't feel that there's any, you know, are there online things that sort of people that are a little bit unhinged anyway go on and they encourage them to do things like this? I don't know, you know, because I've never been involved in that world, luckily for me. But yeah, did he go somewhere with the knife in his pocket, or has he gone to get a knife? He's coming back with it. Apparently, this is when he rang a taxi.
His face still covered with a mask. On Monday, we obtained separate CCTV footage of the same suspect pacing across a driveway at 11:23.
So look, he's pacing up and down, waiting for his taxi. Now, I now know that his parents were in the house at the time, because when the police came 2 hours later, they've taken the parents away to a safe place, because the parents obviously can't live in that house anymore, because everybody knows that house now, because that's been well, so you can see it on here, but the address has been on social media, all of it. So those parents, his parents, cannot go back to that house, which is sad, isn't it? But, you know, of course they can't.
Neighbours say he got into a cab shortly afterwards, before the driver unwittingly delivered him to the children's club, where Dance turned to death in a moment.
So, yeah, he got in the taxi, went off, didn't he? Got out the taxi, didn't pay for the taxi. That taxi driver's going to feel awful that he even took him there. But how would he know? Someone gets in your taxi, you know, you can't say, oh, have you got a knife on you? Are you going to go and stab a load of children? You know, what can be done about this? I honestly just don't know what can be done about this. It's like, you know, it's the evil went to Southport that day. This guy is possessed by the devil. How can it be stopped happening again? Even if you banned knives, I mean, what? You can't ban knives completely. Is people going to have a license for a kitchen knife or whatever?
2 hours later, police arrived at the property the suspect had last been seen outside. Neighbours say his parents were put into separate police cars and held for several hours. We now understand they had been moved to a safe house. As for the suspect, we still don't have any motive. What was he thinking in these last minutes? When did those thoughts turn to murder? Paul Brand, ITV News, Southport.
Yeah. Did he just wake up that morning and think, oh, I'm going to go and stab a load of children? Or is this something that's, I think it's probably been brewing in him for a long time. From what I can gather, he was once suspended from school because of carrying a knife. So he has got apparently, again, you know, this is unofficial, it's not been confirmed officially, but apparently he was obsessed with knives, had a knife collection. You know, these are all the things that are being said. So at one point he was disqualified or expelled from school for taking a knife. So it was like an accident waiting to happen, wasn't he? Really? I mean, but what can you do about it? I mean, as a parent, you know, was he under the care of mental health assessment people? I don't know. Oh, let's just watch it one more time.
Watch the reflection in the car window. A suspected mass murderer is about to come into view. Where is he going? Hood up and face hidden behind a mask. At just gone 11 on a sunny Monday morning. It was enough for neighbours to notice and wonder.
To see a man in the green hoodie walk.
I was just thinking then when you said Monday again, it's only Thursday. How life can change in an instant. Those families then, that life will never be. They got up on Monday morning looking forward to taking their little girls to that dance thing. You know, the little girls would be all excited about it. Taylor Swift, blah, 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 blah. And, you know, and everyone connected. The taxi driver woke up, didn't know he'd be delivering a murderer to murder some children. You know, the guys, the witnesses that were talking from the garage and that, they didn't know what was going to happen. No, this is it. You get up in the morning. It's really quite terrifying, isn't it? His family just got up at just a normal Monday. And then everything changes, and we're only on Thursday. And this feels like already like this happened weeks ago to me, because you just, and I'm not, you know, it's not my child sort of thing. So, God, they must feel like they're just in some sort of dream world or nightmare.
Walking past. It's just scary. You don't know if he's looking for something to do or if he's don't know what's going through his mind.
We don't know what the suspect did beyond sight of the camera, but in the direction in which he was walking, several doors down, he would have reached a social club where there was due to be a drama class for children later that day. A few minutes further, there's a skate park on Hesketh Avenue where children could have been enjoying their summer holidays. And still within a short distance is a row of businesses, including a corner shop selling sweets and drinks. 5 minutes later, he returns, striding towards the direction he came from. This time, we see one hand hidden inside his hoodie, his face still covered with a mask. On Monday, we obtained separate CCTV footage of the same.
Yeah, that's interesting, Charlie. That was a Monday, wasn't it? That young girl that went and shot up her school, the song from the Boomtown Rats, I Don't Like Mondays, but it was based on a true story, wasn't it? She was a young teenager, just went out and shot up her school. Maybe that's it. Maybe there was something coming up he didn't want to face. You know, just honestly, you just don't know, do you? Maybe he just thought, oh, I'm going to go. Maybe he wanted to go to prison, you know, but why he had to do this to do it? Or maybe he wanted to feel like, he wanted to know what it felt like to kill people. Maybe just resented little blonde girls, or, you know, who knows? Maybe it was a race thing, you know. But having said that, he wouldn't know what race, you know, what the children were that were there. You know, they could be any race, couldn't they? So maybe it was just, I don't know. Maybe he just wanted notoriety. What reason will he have given some sort of motive to the police? But I don't know if we'll ever be able to work out his reasons, because, you know, he's obviously just not in his right mind.
Suspect pacing across a driveway at 11:23. Neighbours say he got into a cab shortly afterwards, before the driver unwittingly delivered him to the children's club, where dance turned to death in a moment. 2 hours later, police arrived at the property the suspect had last been seen outside. Neighbours say his parents were put into separate police cars and held for several hours. We now understand they had been moved to a safe house. As for the suspect, we still don't have any motive. What was he thinking in these last minutes?
No.
When did those thoughts turn to murder?
Chihuahuas out again.
Paul Brand, ITV News, Southport.
Yeah, so these are all the questions we'd like answered, isn't it? You know, what is his history? Was he obsessed with knives? You know, all those things. And was there something that particular Monday morning? I think, yeah, maybe it's key that it was a Monday. Was there maybe he had an appointment he didn't want to attend? Who knows? Maybe he had an argument with his parents, you know, but something triggered it. I mean, I don't believe that you just wake up one morning. Though having said that, that girl said that she did, didn't she? She just didn't like Mondays. But you can't believe it. It's got to be brewing for a while, isn't it? You're not just going to, any right-minded person who doesn't have these ideations about murdering people isn't going to wake up one morning and just do it. These are thoughts, ideations that happen over time, maybe even years, maybe always, you know, seeing how he got suspended from school for carrying a knife. You know, maybe he'd always fantasized about killing someone, but anyway. Okay, so where are we going next? Oh, so I want to show you this. So this is why. This is somebody from Channel 4 News explain, because I think the media have actually themselves, they're trying to explain. Hi, Moonbeam. They're trying to explain why they can't, because the media, the mainstream media, are taking a lot of stick for not giving out the name, etc. So, of course, social media isn't restricted like mainstream media is. But this is why, this is channel, I think it's Channel 4 or Channel 5 News, explaining why they cannot name the suspect.
Isn't the media naming the 17-year-old suspect in the Southport knife attack? And did you know you could end up in prison if you name him online? England and Wales have strict laws around what you...
Oh, I've got to share it, haven't I? Hi, Rachel. Hi, Rustic. Right, I'm putting this back to the beginning because I forgot to share it at the beginning. But hi, Rustic and Mello, and or anyone else that I've missed coming in. I've tried to say hello to people coming in, but don't always make it. So this is why. Oh.
Very careful about what they say.
Oh,
And
still
all
not
these laws
sharing,
apply
am
to
I?
everyone
Hang on.
online, including
I still wasn't sharing it. Right, let's go back to the beginning again.
you. Breaking the rules could be Why isn't the media naming the 17-year-old suspect in the Southport knife attack? And did you know you could end up in prison if you name him online? England and Wales have strict laws around what you can say publicly once someone has been arrested. The idea is to make sure the jury is fair and open-minded if the case goes to trial, and not prejudiced by what they've read or watched before. And because of our privacy laws, suspects often won't be named by the media until they are charged with an offence. The rules are even stricter in the Southport case because the suspect is under 18. Child suspects generally get anonymity unless a judge decides they can be named. So newspapers and TV programmes are very careful about what they say. And all these laws apply to everyone online, including you. Breaking the rules could be contempt of court and even land you in prison. Merseyside police said today that a name circulating online was not the Southport suspect.
Okay, so I bet the mainstream media, they're dying to give this guy's name.
Isn't the media naming the 17?
The police are dying to give his name. They want to give his name, but they just can't legally. But I think it won't. Either a judge, even today, I don't know if a judge will be able to make that decision, or he's going to be 18 within 31 days, so his name will come out then. But, you know, I am going to talk about it in members, but I'm not talking.
Why isn't the media naming the 17-year-old suspect in the Southport knife attack? And did you know you could end up in prison if you name him online? England and Wales have strict laws around what you can say publicly once someone has been arrested. The idea is to make sure the jury is fair and open-minded if the case goes to trial, and not prejudiced by what they've read or watched before. And because of our privacy laws, suspects often won't be named by the media until they are charged with an offence. The rules are even stricter in the Southport case because the suspect is under 18. Child suspects...
Yeah, of course, until midnight last night, he hadn't even been charged either, so you're definitely not supposed to name them then. Now, he has been charged now. Probably if he was an adult now, he would have been named. I think the problem now is his age. But whether the judge might say today that he needs to, really, I personally think they should name him. I'm sorry, because it's causing too much speculation for the far right idiots to sort of manipulate to their own advantage. So the best thing that they could do really to save other problems is to name him, you know, and give some. They tried to give what information they can, but people weren't listening to it. They said right from the beginning they were from Wales, and then everybody say, you know, all these fools on the media say, oh, they're covering it up. The police are covering it up. And it's not in the police's interest to cover it up. The police, you know, it just causes more problems. So the police would probably love to give his name and just stop all the other speculation.
Generally get anonymity unless a judge decides they can be named. So newspapers and TV programs are very careful about what they say. And all these laws apply to everyone online, including you. Breaking the rules could be contempt of court and even land you in prison. Merseyside police said today that a name circulating online was not the Southport suspect.
Yeah, see, I think the mainstream media are like really angry that social media seem to get away with saying things and they can't get away. They'd love to give this guy's name, I'm sure. you know, just for their own sort of, just for their own sort of popularity, if you like. They want to give the details, but they can't, because they're held to higher, you know, it's different, you know, someone on Twitter, like some, I don't know, I mean, it's different for me because I'm not anonymous on, you know, I am not anonymous on social media. I am who I am. You know, I'm not some bot or some, you know, coward hiding behind a false profile, which most of these people are, aren't they? You know, I think that just shouldn't be allowed on Twitter or Facebook or any of those things. You should not be allowed to have, when you're supposed to not be able to have a false profile. But, you know, loads of people have. That, to me, that would be a foundation in getting rid of because there are problems on social media, and the trouble is with those idiots that go out there and say give all this misinformation, disinformation, whatever you call it. They ruin the reputations of people who are trying to be principled and do it. You know, at the end of the day, if you decide to go on YouTube or Twitter, Facebook, or any of those things, you're always going to take criticism for people. I'm going to take criticism. But, you know, I'm not hiding behind a false profile. This is me, you know, Vicky Marie. This is me. I'm not trying to pretend I'm anyone I'm not. You know, I'm not trying to manipulate my social media. Not everyone on social media doesn't have any principles. But unfortunately, quite a lot of people on social media don't have any principles. That's why I don't like watching any YouTube where you don't know who it is, so you can't get to the bottom of who it is, you know, with anonymous, you know, you just can't see their face and you can't assess what you think of them as a person. Even if then you decide, oh, they are a bit of a twonk, but at least you know they're a bit of a twonk, not somebody on there pretending that they're nice or good or giving out this disinformation, but not even verifying who they are. You know, just and this, but the problem is, and people believe these people. How many people, even on my little channel, how many people came on and said, oh yeah, it's this Ali such and such, it's been on, so, you know, believed it, because people want to believe it, because that's the narrative that they want to believe. So you can make people believe anything if you want to, if they're ready to believe it. What you sometimes can't do is make them believe the truth. If the truth is what they don't want to believe, it's like, no, don't believe that. But it seems to be easier to convince someone of a lie than it is of the truth, which is quite scary, to be honest. Really is scary. Okay. Right, where are we going now? Right, so I'll probably, so of course there's other things that I want to talk about, not just about the start, but I will be talking a bit more about that tonight on the members. But there's other things, other news that I want to talk about, if I can find it. Oh yeah, so this was something that came up now. Any of you who have been watching my channel, as I say, for a while, you will know I covered this case of the Apple River killer, Nikolai Miu. Anyway, it results that yesterday he was given a 20-year sentence. And, you know, to me, this is a very, very sad case, because this guy and also the group of teenagers, they were headed for a collision and they didn't even know it. You know, they went off to Apple River for a nice day out, sunny day, took beers, they'd all had a few drinks. And then something happened, and this guy got in an altercation with a group of teenagers who were really horrible to him, I'm afraid. You know, we watched the video, and I'm not justifying what this guy did, because he ended up, I don't know where he got the knife from. He produced a knife from somewhere, and he was just in a pair of shorts. Got this knife, started stabbing out. It did look a little, you know, he must have felt intimidated. I think he must have felt intimidated. But also I think he'd had a few drinks. The teenagers were really horrible to him, and they called him a paedophile. And this, that, and the other said he was looking at little children under the water, which he wasn't, of course. You know, the teenagers, I'm sorry, you know, no offense, but they were obnoxious. They were obnoxious. But of course, what happened was he stabbed them, and one boy died. One 17-year-old boy died, Isaac Schumann. So he was then found guilty. It was thought that maybe he would be found guilty of manslaughter rather than murder. But he wasn't. He was found guilty of murder, and you know, let's see, she might have put the actual video up here. Yeah, just a little warning, because this is the video of the incident. But it'll give you an idea, if you haven't seen it before, of why some people are feeling that 20 years may have been too long, because he was very much provoked. It wasn't a question of a guy just going up to someone and stabbing him. And this is the, you know, these philosophical questions. You know, at the end of the day, what's the line between defending yourself and manslaughter, murder, involuntary manslaughter, all these lines, you know? So anyway, see what you think.
Get away from us.
So they'd all had too much to drink, all of them, the teenagers, the man, you can see, you wouldn't even recognize him now as a shadow of his former self. Of course, he's a grown adult. What he should have done is just walked away, and then maybe complained about the kids to whoever the monitors are at the park or whatever. But of course, he should have been the person who walked away. But sometimes it's difficult to walk away in the heat of a situation. And as I say, alcohol involved as well. He definitely had quite a few beers, and the kids had had alcohol and drugs. Apparently they'd been smoking marijuana and drinking. So it's like this perfect storm that came together. I mean, you can see that's a lovely day. They'd all come for a nice day out. It's awful, isn't it? You know, that it then ended the way it did, with one boy losing his life, and now this man, you know, the other kids, I suppose, were traumatized. This man, he's lost his life as well, because he's in his 50s, so he'll be in his 70s when he comes out, presuming that he comes out in his 70s.
What? What's going on with your homie? He's on camera. Scripted. He's on 4K. Yo, the new iPhone got that good stuff.
See, this was the bit where he should have just walked away. He's away from them, and then for some reason he decides to go back, and then everything just goes wrong. And where he had the knife, he must have had the knife in his shorts. Why did he have a knife in his shorts? Oh, that's right. He said he had the knife because you have to cut these donuts that they go down the rapids. You know, it's like you go in the donut to the top of the hill and then you come down the river. He said that he had the knife because you have to cut them sometimes, the strings in between them.
What do you say?
Yeah, you can see these strings here, so that's why he said he had the knife, because you can tie the rubber rings together. If you all want to go down together, you tie them together, and then if you want to take one off, that's why he said he had the knife.
Yeah, what the hell? Who is this? Yes. Burn the culture! Who is that? front of the culture. Who is that? Who the hell is this?
You know, so that woman shouldn't have got involved. It has nothing to do with her. He should have walked off. The kids were obnoxious, but, you know, teenagers are obnoxious sometimes, aren't they? You know, at the end of the day, they are. They're not perfect just because they're teenagers. We've just seen that a teenager's just murdered 3 children. You know, teenagers do bad things. But this is where I think that woman's got a lot to answer for as well, for even getting involved. I don't see what it's got to do with her. He was walking away. He should have carried on walking away. God, I bet he wishes he could rewind and walk away. And look, they're at him, you know, they were nasty to him. And, you know, I agree. Obviously, he had to go to jail, but 20 years. You know, sometimes people don't get sentences as long as that for different, you know, for killing children or, you know, deliberately premeditated, you know, murder and things. So I don't know whether it's, but then I honestly, I'm not saying the sentence was wrong because I just don't know what to think. If that was my son, I would probably be wanting him to be put in prison for 50 years. But my son would not do that. You know, my son's not perfect, but I know one thing he would not do is bait someone, call them names, try it, you know, that is not so right to me. He's not that sort of person to do the things that this mob are doing. And I'm not saying that teenager deserved to die. Of course he didn't. But they've got to. Do you think these teenagers have got to take some accountability for their own actions?
Looking for little girl. You're looking for little girl. Yeah, that's exactly what he said. We're us out. I even have that on camera. That's some young ass kid.
You just want to scream at him. Just walk away. Walk away.
This guy's problem, bro. We're trying to have fun. He's gonna close you. He's gonna claim you. We don't want this one.
Yeah, and then this girl comes over. They start pushing him and things. You know, they've got to take some responsibility for their own actions. They've got to. Then they push him in the water. They push him in the water. So, you know, this is not... this is... I've forgotten about this video. Like just how it is upsetting to watch. And as I say, I'm not excusing him for what he did in any way, shape or form. But they've got to take some responsibility for their actions, in my opinion. And they're the nice ones.
He hit a woman! He hit a woman! You hit a woman! He hit a woman! You hit him!
So just, this is where it all goes wrong. So just a warning here. You don't actually see the stabbings, I don't think, but you can see from this guy's face. Oh my God. So all of a sudden they've gone from baying hyenas, thinking it's hilarious, pushing him into the water, calling him a pea, doing this, that and the other. And then suddenly this knife appears.
He's dying! He's dying, bro! Oh my God! Oh my God! Oh my God! Oh my God!
You see their faces like they're terrified now. So this is the guy who's been said, no, they've been videoing it all as well. You know, videoing, sort of pushing him in the water and, you know, calling him names and all encircling him and everything. You know, I'm glad I've watched this now because now I remember why I was so angry at the time.
Are you serious? Is this real? Who is that? Oh my God. Oh my God. Is this real? Oh my God. Oh my God, what the fuck? Is this real? That's not bike! That's not bike! That's not bike! That's not bike! That's not Isaac!
that blood. Oh my God.
Oh my God! This isn't real!
It is real. So of course, that's what happened. So, you know, just watching that again, you just think, you know, and this, you know, it's sad for everybody concerned. So he apparently gave a statement before he was sentenced, saying how sorry he was, etc., etc. You know, I can't help but feel a bit of sympathy for him. But anyway, you know, he had to have a sentence. You know, he stabbed that boy, he killed him. But you know what, they do have to take responsibility for their own actions as well. We talked a lot about it at the time. You know, how far are you allowed to go? Baiting someone, calling them names, accusing them of being a pedo and things like that, encircling someone, pushing them over into the water. I still sort of can't believe that it you know, because it's not a straightforward case of murder, I don't think. I think, you know, personally, he's been hard done by, and I think some of it was xenophobia as well, because of course he was a Russian national. He's lived in America forever, you know, and he's not like a migrant. You know, they like to blame migrants for everything there in America as well. I think there might have been a bit of that as well. And the teenagers were like all American, you know, teenagers, but they're not nice teenagers, are they? They're not. Sorry, but they weren't. And they, you know, as much as it's awful for anyone to lose their life, you cannot behave like that and think that somebody's not going to respond. Anyway, the other thing that, of course, he did wrong was he walked off. And when the police found him in the car park, they didn't really, you know, he hid the knife. He tried to hide it. He should have really just owned up to it. Maybe he would have got thought of better if he hadn't tried to sort of escape, if you like. Maybe that would have had an effect on his sentencing or the verdict of whether it would have been involuntary manslaughter or self-defense even, really. But yeah, awful. An awful. Yeah. You just think, that's right, how far can bullies go? You know, of course it's not right. We all know, we're sitting here in the cold light of day, you know it's not right to stab someone and kill them. But when you look at that video, and I think you really do get a sense in that video of how it was to be there, the chaos and the nastiness coming from those kids. You know, if that was my son, as much as obviously I'd be heartbroken, but I would be like saying to him, if he wasn't the one that was killed, what on earth possessed you to be so nasty? What on earth possessed you to push him over and throw him in the water and what have you? You know, in a way, they're lucky he didn't go off to his car and get a bloody machine gun or so, you know, because in America you can have all sorts of guns. Could have had a gun in his car, gone off and shot all of them. You know, you cannot treat people like that. What is it? You know, I would never treat anyone like that, like bullying them. You know, a big crowd of them as well. And then that other woman joined in. She's an adult. What did it have to do with her? She should have just kept her nose out. So, yeah, and that's awful, Pauline, what you're talking about. Terrible. So that was something that I just wanted to show you. So he's got 20 years anyway. He's got 20 years. I don't know if they'll appeal it, but I made that comment on that Twitter account that maybe he would appeal it. But people are saying that you know, it doesn't matter, no point in appealing because it probably won't get changed. But I don't know if it will or not. But sad, very sad, I think. Yeah, a lot of people thinking, yeah, a lot of people, you know, blaming it on alcohol. Alcohol definitely had an input there on both sides, and marijuana. And then there's a lot of support for him, probably mainly from older people, I would imagine. I don't know, but I think if you put yourself in that position, you know, he was attacked first. And also, can you imagine how scary that would have felt to be surrounded by all those people? And he'd had a few drinks. He's probably, you know, alcohol definitely had a lot to do with it. So, yeah, a lot of people thought it was self-defense. Anyway, it's too late now. He's got his 20 years, bless him. And, you know, as I say, I'm not justifying what he did. It was wrong what he did. But I'm sure, do you know what? I don't expect anybody knows that more than him. Because he's the one who's got to live with, I mean, and he was a person of previously you know, he didn't have a history of violence or aggressive behaviour or anything. That was the first time. So, surely that should have sort of been taken into account as well. I mean, if he was some twonk who went round arguing with everybody and getting into trouble wherever he went, fair enough. But if he's got to, you know, his 50s and he's never had any of those issues before, I don't know, it just seems wrong somehow. And sometimes you see people who do terrible things and they get shorter sentences with that than that, especially in Britain. I mean, in America, they tend to go a bit more, don't they, with the sentences? But in Britain, they're a bit, you know. Okay, so that was something I just wanted to tell you about because that's something we covered before. And another thing that we were covering the other day, and of course, all these news items have got lost in, you know, the bigger news, if you like, of the Southport stabbings and Hugh Edwards, etc. Oh, God, I mean, that's another thing, isn't it? But anyway, we'll talk about that in a moment. I want to talk about Anita. So the poor lady that was out walking her dog in the pink jacket that we looked at the other day. There's been somebody else as well now charged with her murder. So a man in his 20s is the third person now to be arrested. Let's go in the BBC one. Or should I go on this one? No, I'll go on the ITV. So, yeah, another man, 20s, arrested on suspicion of murder in Brantham dog walker attack investigation. So this is poor Anita, went out for a walk with her dog and was found unconscious and then died in hospital. And then somebody was arrested and then released and then arrested and released. A woman was arrested on receiving stolen goods. And now a third person has been arrested. So she was 57. She was found unconscious on Rectory Lane in Brantham, Suffolk on Wednesday, 24th of July and died in hospital 4 days later. And 1 week on from the attack, police arrested a man in his 20s from Brantham on suspicion of murder. And he is the third person to be arrested. But the thing is, the other people that have been arrested, they've been released on bail. So I'll tell you what, if you live in that area, this is what made of Brantham, which is near Cambridge, near London, not that far from London, don't go walking your dogs because these twonks are walking around. They're walking around, they're released on bail. Just disgusting. Suspicion of murder and they've been released on bail. So we've got a 45-year-old man from Ipswich arrested on suspicion of attempted murder and rearrested on suspicion of murder after she died. She's a grandma of 13 grandchildren. 13 grandchildren now haven't got their nanny or their granny or whatever, GMA as I'm going to be called when I finally become a grandma, if it ever happens. So this man has not been released yet. He was arrested on Wednesday, which was yesterday, and taken to Martlesham Police Station for questioning, where he remains. Earlier in the day, officers retraced Miss Rose's final steps and handed out more than 1,200 leaflets to dog walkers and cyclists in the area. And high visibility checks were also carried out on train services between Ipswich and Colchester, as the rural path ran close to the train tracks, and police were keen to speak to passengers. So, of course, somebody might have seen something off the train. But the thing is, this was really early in the morning. I think it was like 6 o'clock in the morning. So was whoever did it waiting for this woman in particular, or waiting for any dog walker to rob them? So Detective Superintendent Mike Brown said, today alone and following this morning's anniversary checks, we have had nearly 40 responses via our public portal and have identified new potential witnesses. So that's good. While we have recovered Anita's iPhone, her pink zip-up jacket, which we believe she was wearing immediately prior to the incident, remains outstanding. So they cannot find her pink jacket. And it's a very distinctive, you can just about see it here on the poster. She was wearing this very bright, very distinctive pink jacket. Where is it? We reiterate our appeal for information as to its whereabouts, as it could hold key information or evidence to the investigation. The jacket is described as waterproofing material and believed to be from an outdoor clothing brand, possibly Regatta. We also urge people to please refrain from speculating about the incident. No, you're never going to stop people from speculating about the incident. Of course, it's just a pointless thing to say. People are going to speculate. That's just the way it is nowadays. Just got to accept it and try and control it the best way you can. They've got to think of some new, what's the word? They've got to think, the authorities, the police, etc. They've got to think of some new ways of using social media, etc., in a good way, rather than just pretending it doesn't exist. I think that's a real thing in Britain, more than in America, for example. I think in America they are more open to social media, etc. In Britain, it's just like, we've told you not to talk about it, so shut up. These people aren't going to not talk about it. So use it and turn it to your advantage. There's got to be something some way that they can, deal with the social media speculation. So she was found with serious head injuries after taking her Springer Spaniel, Bruce. So of course, Nicola's dog was a Springer Spaniel, wasn't it? Willow. I don't think Springer Spaniels, because I think if you had a German Shepherd, you might have more chance of getting defended, perhaps, from I think if somebody tried to attack me if I was with Princess Tia, I think they might regret it. But, you never know. You just don't know. In fact, even my little Rocky, not Riley. Riley would just run off because he's a total scaredy cat. He would just run off. He wouldn't. I mean, he would come back and I'm sure he'd be really upset and traumatized, but I can't imagine him actually attacking someone to help me. But maybe I'd be wrong. But definitely little Rocky and big Rocky, my little dog Rocky and Princess Tia, who is also known as Big Rocky, they would definitely have a little chomp on anyone who tried to do anything to me. So the cause of death has not been established and further tests are going to be carried out. Even though there's been a post-mortem, they haven't established the cause of death. That's strange, isn't it? So let's hope they don't let this one go. Now, it may be that they let the other two go because they're not really not, what's the word that I want to say, that maybe because they're not really thought to be the ones that actually killed her. Maybe this latest one that's been arrested, because he hasn't been released yet, maybe he is the one that is thought to have actually killed her. But again, time will tell, won't it? Time will tell. We don't, we have to wait and see. So the thing I wanted to tell you just about Hugh Edwards really is that now there's going to be an inquiry, isn't it? Too late, of course. The Prime Minister, Keir Starmer. Oh, look at that. They've named him. They've named him. So just as we're online, they've named him. Let's have a look at this. Oh, that's good, because now I can feel that I can, you know, say his name. Yeah. Axel Rudakubana is the name of the lad who is being charged with murder in this in the Southport stabbings, and I have a picture of him as well, but I'm going to show. It looks like it's all coming out, so I don't feel bad about naming him now tonight in the members, because now I don't feel bad about naming him now. So he's been named after he appeared in court today. Earlier, 2 children who were injured in the attack were released from hospital. I feel like crying there, because for joy, if you like. So 2 children been released from hospital. So that's good. So some good news. The 2 that have been released, when there's still quite a few of them still in hospital, and the 2 ladies that were running the workshop. Oh, but such good news that those 2 kids have been released. Let's have a look at this then.
Sort of measured view, I would say, of the latest news in terms of how it feeds through. But I think that's a part of
no, I don't want to know about the interest rates.
We do have a small output gap opening.
Don't want to know about that.
So I think that's one way of.
I want to see. So this apparently is an unusual decision. Yeah, they had to do it. They had to do it because, I mean, he's only got a month to go before he'll be 18 anyway. So the suspect in the stabbing attack case can now be named as Axel Rudakubana after a ruling from the judge in court. And after hearing submissions, Judge Andrew Maneri Casey declined to make an order to conceal his identity. That is so brilliant. Sometimes you've got to be pragmatic. You've got to look at a situation, you know, and all the you know, you've got to think outside the box, haven't you? All these bloody right-wing idiots, these English Defence League, talking about, what was it, Mussulmanic rules and things like that. You've got to stop them in their tracks. So, reporting from outside the court, crime correspondent Martin Brunt, that's probably more like it, says the judge listened to legal argument for 20 minutes before ruling that Rudakubana's identity could be revealed. It's unusual because, strictly speaking, under the law, anyone who's younger than 18 has the protection of the law and can't be named, says Brunt. So from the moment we knew that a 17-year-old had been arrested as a suspect, even though eventually we worked out his identity, we were still prevented from naming him. He added, it's a rare thing, but clearly the judge has been persuaded by the legal arguments. I think that is just such a good decision.
We've just been told in the last few seconds that the judge has agreed that the 17-year-old boy can now be named publicly. His name is Axel Rudakubana. So the judge, having listened to 20 minutes or so of legal argument, and particularly an application by the Daily Mail newspaper, that he should be named. Up until that point, a minute or so ago, we weren't naming him because he is still 17. In the eyes of the law, he is a juvenile and as such cannot be named. No juvenile who appears in court can be named under the legal rules. The judge, having listened to that argument, has decided that he can be named, and it was said in court that although he's still 17, he will be 18.
Well, you know, Sephi or Pauline, you talk about there's no EDL anymore. Some of those rioters, I was watching the riots in Southport and in London, They were flying flags with EDL on them. They were wearing T-shirts with EDL on them. So maybe it's been, you're saying it's been disbanded, but then why are they wearing T-shirts with the EDL on it and holding flags with it on? You know who I mean anyway, those far right-wing idiots. Don't matter what their name is.
In 6 days' time. So the judge has been swayed by the arguments from the Daily Mail in principle, but the prosecutor before that had given the pros and cons of naming him or not naming him. Originally, the prosecution had asked for that anonymity to be maintained. Now, I'm just waiting to hear from colleagues inside whether I can now report the legal argument that led to that judge's decision. It's still not clear.
Oh, what happened there? Oh, hang on. Oh, it's finished. Okay. So there you go. So he's been named. Good that he's been named, because it'll just stop all this stupid talk about it. The Muslims just get blamed for everything. God, I'm glad I'm not a Muslim. Imagine if whatever happened, people blame you for it. Like whatever it is, before they even know the facts, it's your fault because you're a Muslim. Going around your place of worship and causing riots around it, etc. Imagine that. I don't know. So is this must be the van arriving?
We've just been told in the last few seconds that the judge has agreed that the 17-year-old boy can now be named publicly. His name is Axel Rudakubana. So the judge, having listened to 20 minutes or so of legal argument, and particularly an application by the Daily Mail newspaper that he should be named, up until that point, a minute or so ago, we weren't naming him because he is still 17. In the eyes of the law, he is a juvenile and as such cannot be named. No juvenile who appears in court can be named under the legal rules. The judge, having listened to that argument, has decided that he can be named, and it was said in court that although he's still 17, he will be 18 in 6 days' time. So the judge has been swayed by the arguments from the Daily Mail in principle, but the prosecutor before that had given the pros and cons of naming him or not naming him. Originally, the prosecution had asked for that anonymity to be maintained. Now, I'm just waiting to hear from colleagues inside whether I can now report the legal argument that led to that judge's decision. It's still not clear.
Okay, now here he is. This is the guy. I would imagine that this was when he was younger. He doesn't look 17 on this picture, but this is him. And this is what I've been wanting to show for a couple of days, but I didn't feel that I could name him because, everyone was saying you're not supposed to name him under 17 and show his picture. But yeah, this is him, Axel. Dark things going through this guy's head, probably even when he was very young. But when you see this little video and that, you just think. So anyway, apparently he was expelled for carrying a knife. But bear in mind, this person who's saying this, saying he was expelled for carrying a knife, he was in my class and told us that we needed a genocide. Now, but that person who's saying that, where's it gone, is not a real profile. So we can't take, again, we have to take things in perspective. He told us that we needed a genocide like they had in Rwanda to fix the problems. We don't know that he said that. Police knew him and he was known to social services. We don't know that either. So we don't know that this is true yet. I'm just showing you what's, floating around. But this is definitely him. Because, people have been looking up his birth registration, his birth certificate, etc. So it's been known who he is for a couple of days, and I've known who he was, but I just didn't feel like, well, we looked at his father. Yeah, sad, isn't it, really? Knowing who he is does not bring those little girls back, of course, but the thing is, hopefully it might stop, these far-right thugs from totally, commandeering this case for their own political advantage. And I tell you, they've all had, whatever you say about the EDL or whatever, I've seen they've all got their flags and what have you. So, as far as they're concerned, they still exist. And of course, they call themselves patriots, don't they? That's what makes me mad, because I can't even say I'm a patriot anymore, because it's like I'm one of them. So there he is, Axel. So I expect the judge has decided, because there's only a month to go till he's 18 anyway, and also, of course, to try and stop all these, look at them. Now, okay, we'll talk about that a bit more tonight in the members, because what I want to talk about now, which I nearly forgotten, of course, I've been talking about so many things, I'm running out of time. As usual, there's always something to chat about. Actually, I don't think I'm going to talk about, I want to talk about Donald Trump, and he's been causing uproar again, hasn't he? You just think, is Donald Trump, it's like, he seems to be an enemy to himself, the things he says. Anyway, I think I need to go and get my lunch now and that. So I'll have to go, I think. But tonight, so that's what we're going to talk about tonight in the members then. We talk about Donald Trump, what he's been up to. We talk about Axel and whatever, because I expect more details will have come out by tonight. Now that it's been named, there'll be all sorts that will come out now. Yeah, doesn't bring those girls back, but I think that judge has definitely made the right decision, in my view. Yeah. I don't think we know anything yet, Moonbeam, about reason. It's going to be a mental health thing, I think, personally. Yeah, I don't think those people that have been protesting were protesting peacefully. Did you actually see? They were throwing, well, those in Southport definitely were protesting peacefully. And the ones in Westminster last night, I was watching it on live stream. We were watching it together. They were throwing eggs. They were throwing bottles at the police. They're not protesting peacefully. They're not protesting peacefully at all. They're trying to cause something. That's what they're trying to do. And they're trying to do it on the back of those 3 little girls. It's terrible. They're trying to cause something in the names of these girls. And even the mother of one of these girls had to come out and tell them not to do it. It's disgusting. And it's been whipped up by the far right. I'm sorry, but it hasn't. They weren't peaceful protests at all. They were not peaceful protests. Okay, I'm going. So thank you all for being here with me. I hope you found the stream interesting. We've all got our views, and these things get heated, don't they? But we all stay friends at the end of it, as long as we're not nasty to each other. But thank you so much for watching. Please remember to hit like if you feel like it. Please subscribe if you feel like it, and if you want to join and become a member, we'll see you later. And I don't know if Heather's still here, but thank you, Heather, for the super chat. Thank you so much. Okay, so I'll see you later, and until I see you again, as always, may your God always go with you. Let's put the video on. Put my little video on. And prayers for these 3 little girls. And thank God that 2 of the children have been discharged. That's fantastic. Let's just pray now for the rest of them. Bye.